Greetings everybody. Capturing some video to document the present state of the oscillator, the test tone generator, on my prototype Tascam early 80s 12x8 inline mixing console. Quick background, when I got this console, the 5-band oscillator in the control module, the master section, the 400 hertz tone wasn't working. You would select the 400 hertz tone and the signal would just die. Long story short, a friend of mine took the control module and put it on his bench and replaced a capacitor, a feedback loop cap, a 4700 picofarad mylar cap, and things were working. So that was many years ago. Fast forward to today, or recently, the 64 hertz tone was doing the same thing, dying off when you would select it. I pulled it apart, looked at some things, reflowed some sketchy looking solder joints, and pulled that one mylar cap that was replaced, and it was about 4900 picofarads, so still within the 5% spec. There are two other caps, one that's a bypass cap and one that's the feedback cap for the other side of the dual op amp, interstage driver for the oscillator, and both of those other mylar film caps were over 8,000 picofarads and supposed to be 4700. So I replaced all three with 3 mylar caps, used 5% caps, but they're all running about 7.5% over spec, so 5,000 to 5,100 picofarads. Put everything back together, and now everything works except for the 6.4 kilohertz tone. Same thing, it dies off. The interesting thing is that if you leave the console on for about 10 minutes, it wakes up and works. It just takes a long time for it to work, and I can force it to come alive by placing my finger across the resistor network. It's one or two of the resistors in the resistor network. I'm gonna have to pull it apart to see which one or ones it is. I haven't measured another cap. It's a polystyrene cap, supposed to be 3,900 picofarads. It's also a bypass cap, strapping the the input, the non-inverting input, to the interstage driver to ground. So I don't know, maybe that's bad also. But I wanted to capture this video to just kind of demonstrate what's happening, because it's really interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. If I can reach. So we'll be able to see on the meters what's working and what's not. So let's turn this on. Okay, that's the 64 hertz tone. Notice how it took a bit for it to come up. And that's the 400 hertz tone, 1K tone, and the 6.4 just goes plop. If I switch it back to the 1K tone, it takes a little bit to pop in. That's 6.4. Here's 12K. Comes alive pretty quickly. That's 6.4K and 1K. Again, switching back to 1K takes a bit for it to come alive. Let's switch it to 6.4K. It's dead. Putting my finger across the resistor network, and I can get it to come alive. Take my finger off, and dies. we go. So, and again, if I turn the console off right now, doesn't change anything. If I leave the console on for about 10 minutes, it works. Everything works. And that is regardless of whether or not I have the test tone generator switched on. So I can have it switched out. There's an off position on the frequency select and an on-off switch. Well, it's labeled slate, so this is the enable switch that routes the oscillator to out to the mixer. But when it's up, the output is coupled to ground, so it really is an on-off switch, bypass switch. So if this is bypassed, this is off, I mean the oscillator is shut down, even if it's in that state when I turn the console on and leave it on for about 10 minutes, everything works. So it's a strange issue, and I would like to get it resolved. Yeah, we're kind of splitting hairs because if you leave it turned on for 10 minutes it works, but it's capable of working. I would like it to work right, and so hoping to find the solution. So that is the present state of affairs.